Today I'm going to be taking a look at one of the most mind-boggling, testicular contorting shows of all time, Xavier Renegade Angel. I didn't even know this was an actual show. I can't believe it has 2 seasons with each episode being 12 minutes long, because the majority of the time, anytime I see a meme from this show, it's just nonsense. I like tennis. I also like eating balls. Balls are somewhat delicious. It's just random nonsense like that, just gibberish, but it's usually really comedic, so I'm very excited to see, is Xavier Renegade Angel actually a good show? And if you like content just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe, because at 50k, I'm going to be cosplaying as Pops from Regular Show, doing the Milk Challenge, and going to a karaoke bar and singing Footloose. And if you want a place where you can talk about your favorite shows, movies, games, all that good stuff, my Discord will be in the description. Now let's take a look at Xavier Renegade Angel. I have discovered true enlightenment all this time. I thought the show or the movie that I needed to be a man was the B movie. Well, a royal flush. But in reality, what I needed was Xavier Renegade Angel. This episode was emotional. It was passionate. It was hilarious. It was everything I could possibly need to ascend to the ethereal realm and open my mind's eye. The episode I'm going to be taking a look at is the best episode in the series with a 9.4 on IMDb, and it is Shaka Shuri battle. And dear lord, this show throws a lot of shit at you. I have my little bullet points for shit that I want to talk about here, so if I'm looking at that a decent amount, I apologize. I do know scripts, but I had to write down so much stuff because they were just throwing stuff at me. But either way, this episode opens with Xavier just wandering the desert, wandering the open lands, and he's just saying shit like, the six ton guppy is in the room. And then just this cloud guy appears out of nowhere and he's like, son, it was you who killed me. It was you who killed me. And Xavier just says really dumb shit that turns out to be so funny because it's so random. It's all gibberish, it's all slop, but he's just like, you who? You who? That is a stupid name. Who did that?
It was you who killed me. What kind of stupid name is you who?
And then he just summons him up, lifts him off of the ground, and he's like, no! It was you! You who killed me!
Who? It was you, damn it! You and Xavier! You killed your own father!
What? Panic? I killed my father? No!
Me? It was I killed my... No!
It's so unbelievably funny. They chose the perfect voice actor, and just the gibberish combined with the nonsense speech makes it so unbelievably funny. This type of comedy is right up my alley. I love nonsensical comedy when it's done perfectly, and they do it just right. So he starts panicking and walking towards this train, and he's like, I fingered my father? How could this be? To finger my father's killer, that was always my goal. I can't believe I did this. I don't understand. And he just sits down on a wooden crate, and then there's this white guy sitting in there, and he's like, hey man, you sitting on my hat, man? Oh, I'm gonna teach you one, man. You can't do anything, man. I hate you, man. And Xavier's just like, whoa, I did not mean to offend you. I am sorry, but if you try anything, I will mess you up. You want a little bit of fentanyl? I will mess you up if you try to get any of my good stuff. It's basically just random nonsense like that. And then he just starts removing his limbs, the random guy. He just starts taking him off. He's like, hold my prosthesis, and just throws off his legs and shit, and he's gonna battle him. And then he starts just beating him with his limbs, just smacking him, whacking him, thracking him, jorking him.
Sit, take that, taste the pain, take that. You might as well just finish me off.
Until he like grabs Xavier's razor, because Xavier was gonna slit his throat because he fingered his father to death. And he grabs it and he starts just shaving his arm, and I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? And then all of a sudden there's a number, and the guy just stops beating him, and he's like, oh, the number! We gotta get out of here! And Xavier's like, oh, this must be a sign, but what is it? Concentration! Concentration! It is a phone number!
Concentration, that's it! It's a phone number. It must be my reprieve, a last-minute cosmic pardon from the governor of circumstance.
And so he goes down to a phone booth and he starts having a conversation with himself, and I'm pretty sure I have seen this scene before because, oh my god, it's just so memeable where he's having an argument with himself. It's just so unbelievably funny, to say the least, where he's just saying shit like, I'll cock your cluck off.
Get your stinky mug in my line of sight, I swear to Chekhov. I'll cock your clock off.
You don't know who you're talking to. I want you so bad, but you don't want me because I don't want you. Hey, buffoon, I hate you. And he just starts getting unbelievably racist to himself. They both go out of their phone booths and they see each other in person now. And it's just like, oh, I see myself? Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you. I hate you. You're pathetic. Oh, you look like me, which means I hate you. You're gonna slumber, the cucumber.
You nap, you get slap, you slumber, a cucumber.
I don't know how they think of this shit, but it's unbelievably funny. Eat your pussy for breakfast. I eat pussy every single day. I don't know, his voice is so good, it's so hilarious, and just this entire interaction, it deadass goes on for like 4 minutes where they're just roasting each other non-stop. And it's beautiful. It is peak comedy. If you have not seen this, I guarantee you can find it on YouTube. Just search up Xavier against Xavier. It's beautiful. It's everything I need. It's so funny. And then they just start going, you want to see my penis? Ha! I knew you wanted my penis. Oh, so you think I want your penis? Well, let's show our penises at the same time. And so they both lift up their loincloths to reveal eyeballs, and they're standing over this monolith that's like a crab, and it's so weird. So we didn't get to see Xavier's illustrious big old fat cock, but we got to see a big old fat eyeball. And wow, so far, you know, just 7 minutes in, I can't believe where I am. I don't know why I haven't fully watched this before, but it gets your heart pumping. If I was the Grinch watching this right now, I'd be like, oh, it's growing so much! Because this is everything I've ever wanted and so much more. I genuinely can't believe that this is just so beautiful. And it's about to get even more beautiful, because this is when we get to the Shaka Shuri blowdown battle, where they're like, oh yeah, let's blow each other, because we need to, unless you want to mate with me. And so they both agree to have this battle, and they both just stand there for like 16 hours, because it says, whoever goes first is a girl. So of course, they just take a while, and they start going.
Fine, I'll blow first.
And I guarantee you whoever made this, they were just anticipating that they were going to finish the show and then just start popping tabs just nonstop to enter the ultimate tripping realm to where they could watch this shit. I'm going to give you a little bit of a flash warning as I go into this, because it's just so insane. It kind of like made me tweak a little bit because I have a bad history with that, but holy fuck, there's so much happening. All these colors as they're entering a new dimension, it's like spiraling with hexagons and pentagons and all that shit as they're just playing their Shaka Shuris in this beautiful tune, just do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do. Now that probably didn't sound as beautiful, unless it did. If that made you bust your giblets all over and just go like, oh, I'm jerking my peppermint patty, Christmas time, then maybe it did make you feel really good, because this was great. And not to say that this is void of comedy either, because you would think, wow, we're getting this beautiful music, stunning visuals, everything you could truly ask for. But just in the middle of it, it just has this unicorn who starts twerking, just throwing back massive stinky ass. And then all of a sudden, it like switches to the unicorn being really tiny, and a doctor grabs it, holding a vial that says cancer, and gives the unicorn cancer. Why? Why did the unicorn deserve cancer? No! I was genuinely audibly shocked while watching that. I didn't understand why the unicorn had to get cancer. It didn't really relate to anything going on, but I guess nothing relates to anything going on. Perhaps that's the meaning of life. You know? Sometimes you start playing your Shaka Shuri and all of a sudden you give a unicorn cancer. Maybe that's what it was all about, you know? But, either way, it all ends right there with the cloud guy reappearing and saying, it was you. And that's the end. This is one of the strangest things I have ever genuinely watched, and I know a lot of it was just me describing to you what was going on, but there was just so much beauty in it. that I feel like I had to describe it to you just so you could get the full picture. If you have not seen the show, I guarantee you it will change your life forever. And that is just one episode in. I'm thoroughly excited to see what else the show has to offer, especially if that's the best. I wonder if it's gonna fall from grace, because this is just my perfect type of comedy. I love nonsensical comedy when it's done right. When it's done with slop or gross out humor or just nothing that works, then I hate it. But when it's just saying extremely random funny things, or just extremely random funny things are happening, like all of a sudden Xavier's all like, "Oh, and you know what? Ugh," and he just shits himself for no apparent reason. You could say that that's gross out humor, but that was genuinely so shocking, and just they immediately moved past it that I was just knee slapping cackling. Like, dear Lord. If this came out today, I guarantee you people would assume that this is AI, because this is the most random bullshit you could ever imagine. This is like Will Smith eating spaghetti back in 2021 type shit. It is crazy, but I love it. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would give it a 10 out of 10. This was flawless, perfect, everything I could ever need. The next episode I'm going to be taking a look at with a 9.0 rating, which is said to be one of the best, is Damnesia Vu. And dear Lord, the beginning of this episode is just Xavier wondering where he is, not understanding anything. It's just full-on amnesia to the max. And it just gets so unbelievably weird so fast, because he goes through one of these doors. He's in a room with a bunch of doors. He goes through one and there's one guy who's like, "Quick, grab the gun!" And Xavier's like, "What? Gun? What do you mean? For what?" And he has to protect the donkey mayor, and the donkey mayor just gets fucking shot.
It was him! I saw him do it! Why else would he have a gun?
And then the guy who handed him the gun to protect the mayor is pointing him out as the shooter. And it's so weird just right off the bat. That's in like the first 30 seconds. We already have a donkey being murdered. Xavier has amnesia, and this guy just betrayed him. Okay, and the ball just keeps on rolling, because now Xavier is standing trial, and he's all like, "But I'm innocent!" And he's apparently on trial for having a trial, so he goes to prison anyway. And then we get to see the guy who betrayed him, who is now trying to run as mayor, and he's just like, "I vow to keep all of the local baby rapists out of the town!" And then we see a child getting kidnapped, and then Xavier goes back to the room of doors. So that is our insane opening. And I gotta say, you know, for what this show is, it's visually really entertaining. Like, a part of it really does look like slop, but at the same time, it just fits the vibe so well that I actually kind of love the way the show looks. So, just immediately he goes into another room and he's like, "Oh yeah, I get my reward. You're going to like my reward." And then he just gets eaten by a snake.
More homo!
So that was a bit odd. So, then he's in the room and he's talking about how none of the door handles are working, and he's like, "Fine, I'll rub it myself." And he just starts twerking, shaking voluptuous ass all over the door, and he falls through it. And then he's in this town, and it's like a backwards town, so everything you do is backwards, and holy fuck, this one scene is just so funny, because he sees a dude get run over, and then the backwards thing activates, so he doesn't get run over, so it just cuts to Xavier in a car, going backwards, hitting everybody, just saying, "I am committing vehicular man-burger slaughter."
People, hurry! Get in the way! I'm committing vehicular man-burger helper.
And oh yeah, I'm helping everybody. That was just so unbelievably funny. I can't even describe how perfect it is. Just the delivery, and then the mix of the scenes of him just driving backwards, running over everybody. It's so unbelievably fucking funny. I can't get over it. So then he gets killed by a guillotine, which sends him back to that same room. And then we get this entire sequence where he's in this Aztec realm. And there's not really a lot to say for this sequence. I do like the 2D animation that they switched to. I thought it was really good. But it's like Xavier gets sacrificed, and then he's not sacrificed, and then the sun god comes down and turns into like a little sperm, and they start passionately making out, just giving each other deep and passionate tongue. And then the spermie swims back up into the sky, because I guess he had enough of Xavier's love, and then he turns into the sun god and starts chasing Xavier, which leads to Xavier getting killed again. So that was odd, to say the least. So then because it's just never ending. He goes to a different world where this guy is just like, do you believe in God? And then he shoots people if they say yes. That was very interesting, but it was really funny because he asked Xavier that question, and he's just like, well, that is a interesting question. I mean, theoretically, if we are here, there must be a reason for it, but at the same time, and the guy just keeps getting more and more frustrated until he shoots himself in the head.
But more about this. Would you be interested in reading some of my literature?
No!
So, it was me.
So, that was beautiful. Absolute cinema. Having a great time. And then this next part just caught me so off guard, man. Cause he goes through another fucking door. And the town just says Starvington, and he walks up to this woman who is like, oh, please, do you have any food? Oh, please. And he's just like, oh, you must be a woman. You are a woman. Don't worry. I'm helping you. I'm helping because I am a feminist. I'm going to make sexism my bitch.
Hey, lady, I'll help you. I'm a feminist. I'll make sexism my bitch. Sexism will be like, oh, Xavier, you're so strong.
Sexism will not stand a chance. And then he's... oh, fuck. It's so funny. And then he starts like singing a song about sexism, and it's so beautiful. It's so funny. I haven't laughed this much at a show in a while. This is just great. So he does that, and then he turns everybody there into a sandwich, and then he finds his mother, who turns him into a bowl of chili, which was very odd. And then this like random thing tells him to go into the final door, and he opens it, and he turns into a small woman, and then as the small woman, he finds a big woman who is apparently a homosexual, and the homosexual is like, oh, I won't get into heaven because, they won't let me in because I'm a homosexual. So Xavier's like, oh, I'll help you with that. Don't you worry, I got just the quick trip to get you up in there. Follow me. And then they see the Pope's ass, and Xavier shoves the homo up Pope's ass, and it goes to heaven, and then, I don't know, it's all so weird, but that was great. The entire homosexual scene was fantastic. I'm really glad Xavier helped them with all that. That was lovely. I was very happy for them. And then, that's pretty much it. Heaven self-destructs, and then Xavier realizes the true meaning of life from then on, and that's the end of his suffering. Yeah, this is just another one of those episodes. I feel like it's going to be kind of the theme with every single one of these episodes, where I'm just throwing so much at you and I have to describe a lot of it, and it's just a lot of me laughing at random shit. But that's just what you expect. I haven't had to like write down this many notes for a show in a while. Usually I only have like 7 bullet points. Here I have like 30, because again, it's just back to back to back random bullshit, but it works so unbelievably well. It is so hilarious. Xavier's delivery is perfect. The visuals are so good. Just the way the episode unfolds in such a nonsensical way, but it still sticks to its core theme, is just beautiful. I loved Xavier's journey, especially when he went to the Starvington town. That was just beautiful. I did not expect him to just look at this woman on the ground and go, I am a feminist. I'm going to make sexism my bitch. That genuinely just had me cackling. I would just love to be in the writer's room for this kind of show, because I feel like it was just completely and utterly manic. Either they were all high as hell, or they were all just playing five-finger fillet with each other, just standing over each other, just, oh, you don't want to miss? But what do you want in the show? What do you want? Or they were just constantly twisting each other's balls, which just released so much endorphins that they just became just incredible at pitching random nonsense. I don't know. Either way, I'm glazing this show a lot, but I haven't laughed this much in a while, so that's probably why. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would give it a 10 out of 10. It was just so funny. I'm like out of breath because of how great that was. The next episode I'm going to be taking a look at with a 7.7 on IMDb is the episode Haunted Tonk, and this episode is very weird, don't get me wrong, but it's surprisingly the most cohesive story that I have seen thus far coming from this show. It's not just random bullshit happening for the sake of random bullshit, it actually happens for a reason, which was a interesting way to take the show after everything else I've seen. But either way, this episode opens with Xavier being all like, I need a friend, I've been so lonely, I'm a slumber cucumber, but I can't be alone no more. So he makes this little guy out of feathers who ends up fighting him and beating the shit out of him, so he's all alone. And then he sees this guy building wind turbines, and he blames the wind for all of his problems, so he makes a deal with that guy that if he could prove that he can control nature, then he will be his friend. So they go into town, they find this snake charmer, and the snake charmer is able to, you know, control the snake. So the wind guy's like, I gotta rethink a lot of things in life, and he goes to work on his wind, which leaves Xavier feeling sad and alone and not having any friends. And all of a sudden, his little snake hand just starts slithering away and just starts horking a man's hog.
Snakehand, where are you going?
Snakehand says, I can't help it. Oh, I owe you one, my friend.
Jorking it real good. For what reason? Why was the snake, like, wanting to jork that guy? I mean, I guess every little thing in this world has its needs and desires, but geez, it just slithered over there like it was hungry for some Fent. It just wanted it so bad, and all of a sudden it's just... And Xavier's like, oh, Snakehand, I didn't know you were a bisexual. Why didn't you tell me? I mean, I have looked at you before. And the snake's hand's like, and starts throwing up, which makes his entire body inverse, and you could see all of his organs and stuff. So Xavier looks like that for a while. It's very disgusting. It's very disturbing. But he meets this weird guy who, like, abuses himself because of society, and he's all like, society did this to me, society! He's just freaking out. He's a very weird fella, but I guess, you know, everybody's got their kinks, I guess. And so he becomes friends with Xavier because Xavier wants to help him with society and dealing with society. So he goes to talk to society, and he has a big crowd in front of him, and he's like, all of you must lay down on the ground and deal with all of your problems. You see, get out a taser, handcuff yourself, and lay on the ground. But then one of the ladies in the crowd calls him a hypocrite because he's a part of society, so they both just get down on the ground and just start getting beat, which I found to be unbelievably hilarious.
Oh no, he's right. Okay, we're getting down on the ground. Come on, don't be a hypocrite. We're part of society too. Take that.
I just love the way things unfold. We cannot be hypocrites. Come on, get down on the ground. I just love it so much. So then his little friend leaves for a little bit, and he gets flipped back inverse to his normal self after getting beat up by the wind guy, because the wind guy didn't recognize him when he was just organs, so he beats the shit out of him. That was very odd. But then he's like, oh, my friend, I must show you something. And this is where things get a little bit weird, but also funny. I don't know if I'm allowed to find it funny. I don't know. Is this my area, or is everybody gonna be like, Kalos, you dirty scoundrel? But either way, he goes back to this dude's lab, and he apparently made these like little hurricanes that he could make do work for him, and one of them messes up bringing him a sandwich, so he gets out a whip and starts whipping it, and he calls them a word I don't know if I could say. He calls them something. I'll just play the clip for you.
Feel whippity whippity whoa. And what do you call these wind monkeys? Wiggers.
But yeah, that was really funny. He's even sending them out to the field. He hung one of them. Dear Lord, that is some dark humor right there, and that caught me so unbelievably off guard. I did not even remotely expect that, because what the fuck? What the fuck is happening? That was so odd. So Xavier's all for this, and he goes to tell his new friend about it, and his new friend beats the shit out of him, which causes him to turn into the organ guy again, and they both want to free things, and that's where it gets a little bit weird for me, because he keeps, like, swapping back and forth to try to get a better and better friend, and eventually he, like, you know, talks to his snake and gets stolen, and then the giant hurricane steals both of his friends, and the other friend gets arrested. I don't know. The ending is kind of just slop. It's a bunch of things just randomly happening. But dear Lord, wow, that was an experience to get there. There was a lot of things going on, a lot of things that were shocking, a lot of things that were vulgar, a lot of things that you could just never prepare for in life. I enjoyed it, though. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would probably give it a solid 7 out of 10. No, 8 out of 10. I thought it was a lot of fun. Believe it or not, I don't actually like how cohesive the story is, because the things that I liked about the first 2 episodes that I watched was that it was just so unbelievably random that it was just joke after joke after joke, and because it was so nonsensical, it was making me laugh. But here, there were some aspects of it that I didn't like as much because it was dragging the story a little bit, and I felt like their attempt to just tell a, like, full-on story was decent, just not the best. It doesn't make me want to go to 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 by any means. The final episode that I'm going to be taking a look at with a 8.5 rating is Weapons Grade Life, and what the fuck, man? It's so hard to root for Xavier in this episode. This is the only episode where he's truly seemed like a villain for no reason. He just fucks everything up in such atrocious ways for genuinely no reason, dude. It's so wild. The episode opens with him just walking up to this group of kids, and one of them is in a wheelchair, and he just immediately starts laying into this kid like it's non-stop. He is saying things that I'm pretty sure that you can never say to somebody who is, you know, in a wheelchair for no reasons, but he's actually saying it like he's defending him. He's like, why are you hanging around this little guy with these, you know, peg legs?
Well, he's got a funny way of showing it. Look, I'm not tarted like Robbie here.
He can't even get up and say it to my face. Why do you want to be around this guy? He's just saying horrible, atrocious shit like that to this poor kid, and he like gets down and starts touching his legs, like just rubbing them, and then the kids who are with him, who are trying to defend their friend in the wheelchair, just start beating up Xavier.
Hands off his leg, you perv!
Take that, taste the pain. Take that, taste the pain.
It's cranberry sauce.
Take.
And they go away, and the wheelchair kid, he wants to stay with Xavier for some odd fucking reason. He wants to show him his dad's hospital, his surgery clinic, or whatever you want to call it, where he just prays to the Lord up above, and it just makes like a scalpel start floating and doing surgery and stuff. That was very odd. And Xavier, he immediately finds out that it's just the kid in the wheelchair just in the back room, just hiding it from his father, using science to control it all, which was very weird all on its own. But yeah, it's just so odd. So they go down into the kid's lab to look over all of his science stuff, and he's struggling to make life, and then he puts like coconut oil or whatever in there, which causes life to be born. And Xavier, he was very helpful at first, but the second the little dude makes life, he's like, oh, you think you're better than me? You think you're better than me? You think you're incredible? I think you look like shit.
Come to me from down there on your sparkling high horse. You are just as ugly on the inside as you are on the outside.
I feel I'm reasonably attractive.
I think you look awful. And then the kid's like, I think I'm reasonably attractive. And he's like, I bet you do. Why don't you get up and say that to my face? Oh, wait, you can't. He's just so mean to this poor kid, and this kid's just oblivious to everything that's going on. But Xavier, he leaves anyway, just abandoning this kid because the kid didn't accept his 3-layer burrito idea. Yeah, it's all just kind of slop. I don't know what's happening. So he goes out, and then he finds the kid's dad ordering cakes, and it zooms in on the dad where he's like, oh yeah, the only thing that would stop me from eating this cake would be water. That would stop the raging fire in my belly.
Swim through a lake full of water for these cakes. That's the only thing that would put out the raging fire in my belly.
It's just so weird. They just put so much emphasis on what he is saying there, which caught me off guard. But then Xavier is all like, oh, you know what your son is doing? He's doing bad things. And he shows the dad everything that the son was doing, like everything, which makes the dad just go manic. And he's like, I don't know what to believe in. I don't know. And so the dad, he just pours gasoline all over his body, and just everything explodes. And Xavier runs into the kid and he's like, it's time to move on from your father, really. I mean, come on, stop thinking about that guy.
Just like you'll get over that, you need to move on from losing your father back there. You need closure.
As the explosion is still going on in the background. It's really hard to root for this Renegade Angel. I guess this is where the renegade part is coming from, because oh my god, like, at least in all the other episodes, it felt like he was at least semi-good-natured, but here he's just abusing this poor little vegetable. Like, I don't get what the goal is, man. I really don't get what the goal is. So this explosion, it turns out to actually be alive, and it starts chasing everybody, murdering everybody, and Xavier gets the brilliant idea to take it to the water, and he's just like, does anyone know the way to the lake? Does anyone know the way to the lake? Does anyone know the way to the lake? Well, he's just driving around, and that goes on for a very long time. He eventually is thrown off of his car, and the explosion is about to kill him, but then the kid in the wheelchair shows up once again, and he's like, Dad, I've embraced the Lord, I've embraced the Savior, Father, please come to me so we can hug it out. And then he, like, rips the cross apart and pulls out a sword and stabs it in the heart and kills his father. And that's the end of it. Wow, 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 wow. I'm stunned, I'm shocked. Like, I can't believe this episode opened with him just roasting this poor child in the wheelchair, and it just didn't stop from there, so much so that he got his father killed, and made the poor boy do the finishing blow, killing his father, who is now turned into a live explosion. What a time to be alive! Yeah, if I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would probably give it a solid, like, 7 out of 10. It was really entertaining. A 7 out of 10 is nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing inherently awful about this episode, but I don't know, something about it just doesn't want to make me rate it any higher. It's just very odd. Xavier Renegade Angel is by far one of the funniest shows I've ever seen. I really wish I watched it when I was younger, back when my brain wasn't completely rotted from all this media I've consumed, because it's actually so funny. I haven't laughed at a show like this except for Smiling Friends recently, so it feels really good to check out a show just like this. I feel like the problem with a lot of adult animation nowadays is they try to either be super meta, or they're just really cynical about everything. It makes every single adult animated show kind of a downer in a lot of ways, but here, it's just a lot of whimsy and a lot of nonsense to where you can turn off your brain, have a couple of laughs, and have a good time, and that's what I like in my comedy. That's why I love Smiling Friends. I can't wait to rank every episode of Season 3 when that comes out. It's just whimsy, it's fun, it's just designed to make you laugh by telling actual good jokes, and I mean, not all the jokes in Xavier Renegade Angel are good, but they're gonna catch you so off guard that it's bound to get you to laugh. It's not just gross out humor, it's not just saying it for the sake of saying it, it is actually designed and just played out with these visual, like, awful but good looking world that it just works. It works so unbelievably well, and I had a great time watching this show, and I would love to re-explore it again in the future. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.